Game Up. They make a thirst-quenching adult beverage with a special blend of electrolytes. Comes in 4 great flavors: fruit punch, orange, lemon, lime, and grape.
Low carb, only 110 calories. Get yourself some Game Up. UFC 313. And before we talk about the main card, any fights you want to talk about, the prelims or anything else?
Yeah, I mean, the judging, the first fight off of the main card, or of the prelims. First fight, I can't remember the guys' names. I didn't put it in my notes, but one guy made his debut and got a decision win. It was an absolute atrocity that he got this. One of the worst decisions, if not the worst decision I've ever seen. Absolutely a robbery. I think the commentary team even called it out, like actually called it a robbery on the broadcast. So bummer for that guy who got half a paycheck and a loss on his record. But I guess good for the debutant who got a sketchy win. But bad judging. I mean, we'll talk about judging later on with the main event, I'm sure. But prelim fight that got canceled, I was excited about. There were a couple fights canceled. The one I cared about, Curtis Blades had an illness. I guess there was some illness going around the PI. He got hit with it, so wasn't able to fight. So bummer for Curtis Blades, or blessing in disguise that he doesn't have to fight some unranked Russian guy that does nothing for his career. So maybe good illness for him. But let's get into this main card. King Green versus, which he needs to change his name back to Bobby. King Green versus Mauricio Ruffy.
Not much to talk about here other than a crazy highlight reel kick to the head. Happened very early. It was early in the first round too, right? I'm trying to remember now. I don't. Yeah,
like 2 minutes in.
Tough break for King. Love that guy. But Ruffy and the Fighting Nerds continue just to build momentum here. And I want to say Ruffy had a call afterwards of maybe Dariush. He's hoping to maybe jump up far in the rankings there. I think that's a good fight. That would be a great fight. I had Benoit Saint Denis. I thought would be a great fight too, and maybe that could be next. I think he's a little further back than Dariush, so I thought maybe that's a little more realistic of a fight, and I think that would be interesting to see. A lot of fireworks there.
Yeah, either of those would be really. Oh yeah. Poor King Green, since he changed his name from Bobby to King, has been viciously submitted by Paddy Pimblett. That he just got spinning wheel kick, face down, knocked out by Ruffy. So bummer for him. He's getting older, but he is just fighting tougher guys also. So as far as Ruffy, Fight Nerds guy, fucking love it. Made this comparison, and this isn't my comparison. I've read this somewhere else, but the Conor McGregor thing, his movement, his movement is exactly like Conor's was back in the day. Even that wheel kick is like silhouette of Conor doing the wheel kick. So hopefully he doesn't end up like Conor. The fighting style is uncanny. So shout out to Mauricio. Looking great. Shout out to Fighting Nerds. They're really killing it. Amanda Lemos versus Iasmin Lucindo.
Yeah, this is a fight I didn't get to watch a lot of. I started to fall asleep at this point. East Coast time, guys. Sorry, it kills me. But Lemos got the win. As far as a fight next, I was looking at people that she's won and lost, and she's fought so many tough people in this division. One name I noticed that she hadn't fought and is coming off a loss. I thought Tatiana Suarez. So I thought maybe just make that fight right now.
And that moves her up too. Yeah, that's a good fight. Yeah. As far as this fight, Lemos decision. Lemos had a power advantage on the feet and was able to just control Lucindo on the ground. Lucindo she was trying to rely on those submissions. I thought she should have stayed on the feet a little bit more. But she's still young, very young. In fact, I think she's like 20 years old. So she's a promising prospect. Hopefully this is a learning experience. Bummer for her. But Lemos, savvy vet, still getting it done. Jalin Turner versus Ignacio Bahamondes.
Ignacio, triangle choke, first round. Jalin Turner actually talking about retiring after this, and I think someone might have tried to talk him out of it, so I don't think that's official. Or
Bahamondes tried to talk him out of it.
He tried. Okay. I think there was someone in his corner too. Hopefully Jalin doesn't retire, but I can understand he's had a real up and down career, and I'm sure it gets frustrating at that level. Ignacio, though, impressive performance. A couple guys I like to see again, kind of go with the Lemos, where there's certain guys that are above him that are coming off losses. One of them on this card, Rafael Fiziev, we'll talk about next. I thought, wow, that could be a fun fight.
That'd be really fun. Yeah.
And then the other guy I think is a fun fight too is Hanato Makana.
Oh yeah. I mean, a couple of guys that are never in a boring fight for sure. Yeah. So I hope Jalin reconsiders retirement too. I think he is very talented. Maybe a change of camp or something. He said he had been thinking about it beforehand, and usually when you got that 1 foot out, you should just hop out. I think Bahamondes is gonna prove to be a real star in the lightweight division. We we have this giant wave of the Gaethjes and the Poiriers and them like going out, and the Chandlers, all these exciting fighters going out soon at lightweight. This could be the new core of guys. He can be a headliner there. So I don't think Jalin should be too hard on himself. So hopefully he'll reconsider, make some adjustments, whether that's a team switch or, just coming back reinvigorated. As far as Ignacio, yeah, he's a real problem and a future star, and I'm looking forward to seeing him fight again. I assume this was fight of the night. Yeah.
It was.
Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev.
Gaethje won a close one last time, and he wins another close one here. Yeah, fight of the night, and he is now tied for number 2 all time with Jim Miller, Donald Cerrone, and Charles Oliveira for 14 post-fight night bonuses, whether it's performance or fight of night. 14 fights, 14 bonuses. He's the highlight reel for a reason, as you said here last week. This is a guy, he's so exciting. And he's dialed in. He's coming off that bad loss previously to Max Holloway where he just decided to throw down at the last second. But I think Gaethje's one of those guys. He's still very much in it. He's ranked number 3. And when I look at potential opponents, I have to look at this to guys who are in front of him. If Islam Makhachev is going to end up fighting Ilya next, let's say, then I would say Arman Tsarukyan could be a good fight, especially since they didn't want to put him right back in the title picture. If you don't want to do that, then maybe give him the Charles Oliveira rematch and see if he can make anything happen. I think Charles or Arman is the way to go for him next.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter who you put him in there with. It's just Gaethje. It'll be a fun fight. It's impossible to have a boring fight against the guy. So yeah, Gaethje, another close decision, but Fiziev came in on like 10 days notice or 12 days notice or something. So all the respect to him. He gave Justin all he could handle, but Justin fought really well. Leg kicks, that monster uppercut that he put him down with, he just looked really good. I agree. He still got it. He's been a lot of wars, but I think he takes care of himself well. He took that time off from after that Max Holloway fight, took off almost a whole year. So I just think we need to, I've said this before, but just really appreciate these Justin Gaethje fights while we still have them. Like you mentioned before, 14 fights he's had in the UFC, 14 bonuses because, he goes out there and puts it on the line. He's a wrestler by trade, and he's attempted about 2 takedowns ever. So he just likes to brawl and be exciting. I want to also point this out. You remember when they were fighting, right? And he's known to throw these leg kicks. Yeah. And especially from in very close, he'll throw the leg kick. So it's almost impossible to defend. But this fight, he threw a head kick when he was basically in the clinch. That's like just the flexibility. He's, I think he got a taste for that head kick after knocking out Poirier, but it was a great fight. Always exciting. So shout out to Justin Gaethje and Fiziev, both of them. Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev.
Not the fight of the night, but so I guess the interesting thing is Magomed Ankalaev, I thought fought a good fight. I thought he fought intelligently. Thought he did what he had to do to win. There are moments where he's clinching a lot and it's not the most appealing or exciting. I guess the argument would be here is, what are you doing with that sometimes? Are you doing enough? Are you just tying your opponent up? And just because you happen to control the clinch, how much do we give you for that? That being said, Magomed Ankalaev was able to survive better than anyone, I think, the leg kicks of Alex Pereira. He definitely felt them still, but he returned the favor. As the fight went on, I felt like he was getting stronger at times. There might have been one point, maybe around 3 or 4, where I thought Pereira was starting to push a little bit, but Magomed Ankalaev, I definitely felt like he's the better, well-rounded fighter. Obviously, that's been the case with a lot of cases with Alex Pereira, but he's found ways to win. Got that champion mentality. As far as next fights, to me, it's 1 or 2 options. It's got to be Alex Pereira. He should be, given a rematch possibly because of all the title fights and the hype, and he's definitely probably the man to do that. If you don't want to go in that direction, or Alex wants to take time off, or whatever the case is, then the other guy that to me comes up is Jan Blachowicz, who basically fought to a draw with Magomed, and he had a close decision loss, and you're going to argue with Alex Pereira, so he would be the other guy to me.
Yeah, where's he been?
That's what I was thinking. Because I'm looking at these rankings, and I'm like, I don't remember him fighting, but I'm like, dude, you're the guy. So
they froze him out or something. He's just disappeared. Yeah, he kicked Ankalaev's ass for 2 rounds and then got 10-8'd in the 3rd round for the draws or whatever. So, yeah, I'm with you. I want to know where Jan is. I want to see him again. So, very tough matchup for Ankalaev. But, yeah, a lot of people were upset by the decision on this. I didn't see that. I thought Ankalaev was going to get the decision. There was a lot of bad judging, but I didn't think that was it here. Yes, there is the argument that Ankalaev was clinching on the cage and not doing very much with it, which is warranted. He was clinching and he was throwing like little punches or like knee in the legs, which was not really doing much. And he failed all of his takedown attempts, but you don't get points for defending takedowns in the UFC. I think Ankalaev went 0 for 12. So respect to Pereira for the takedown defense, because I thought for sure he was going to end up on his back at some point in this fight. So respect him for that. You know, him and Glover been working on it for sure. And like you said, Pereira had good moments, but basically he just allowed himself. I mean, first of all, he almost got KO'd at the end. I think it was the end of round 1. He got hit and stumbled back into the cage and was hurt, but he basically just allowed himself to be backed up. He fought on his, going backwards, which was new for him. He's usually stalking his opponents, and Ankalaev was backing him up. And that's due to Ankalaev's, threat of the takedown, but also his striking was very effective too. So, and he ate a few of those legendary left hooks without going down. So I'm not happy that Ankalaev is the champion. No. But respect to him. So, maybe not necessarily the most exciting fighter, but he's not the most boring either.
He's not. No.
He is a striker. His personality is very dull. You can't chalk that up to not speaking English, because Pereira barely speaks English. All he says is Chama, and he's very exciting. So I did see Ankalaev's Twitter popping off afterwards, talking shit to whatever contender basically said anything about the fight, which was in English. So I assume that's Ali and not Ankalaev anyway. So I don't like it. Doesn't seem like it's the guy. Seems like an act. Seems like it's Ali. So I'm just another boring champion is, where I'm at with this sport currently is it's the lowest of the lows, but I'm a degenerate. I'm still in, but we're in a tough spot right now. We'll make it through. But there's a lot of boring champions right now.
I'm glad you said that, because I did want to close the show one more time. Round the ring, I'll put it here. Did get a comment here today. And it's hard because we're early in the year. And it said top 3 favorite fights this year so far. I am not going to be able to come up with 3 of those right now. And that's why I was looking down for a minute while you were talking. So I'm trying to look back at some of these past pay-per-views even. And I'm trying to think, there's been some decent performances. But like when I think of fight at night, like I'm like this Justin Gaethje Fiziev fight we just saw might have been one of the best fights I've seen early in the year so far. I'm looking at past fights like Merab and Umar got fighted tonight one time, and I'm like, I don't know, that was necessarily the fight of the night. I mean, what was that night? But it was like, is that fight of the year?
More exciting than we thought it was going to be. So I think that elevated that.
So do you have a fight that sticks out this year so far?
It's got to be the Gaethje Fiziev fight, which that is diminished as well, because we were expecting Hooker in Gaethje.
Right.
Fiziev was great, especially on short notice, but we just know that Dan Hooker and Gaethje would have been an all-time fight for sure. Yeah, we're just in a tough spot. Sport's in a tough spot right now. Not very exciting. The UFC doesn't seem to really care. They're putting out a lot of these subpar, in my opinion, subpar cards, with a 1 or 2 good fights on it, which is that boxing model, which is partially why boxing died. It has been resurrected, but UFC's whole thing was you get a whole card that was fantastic, or at least a main card, and that's not what we've been getting lately. So 1 or 2 good cards here and there, pay-per-views, but I mean this upcoming 314 in Miami, that's more of what I'm looking at. That one looks fantastic next month, but overall very watered down sport right now.
I agree.
If you haven't tried Game Up, then you are missing out. Imagine your favorite seltzer and your favorite sports drink had a baby, but it's way better than that. Each can is 110 calories, low carb, 4.9 ABV. It's a nice light drink that is not light on flavor. Game Up comes in fruit punch, orange, lemon, lime, and grape. Pick it up at drinkgameup.com or at your nearest liquor store.